Well, hello once again. It's me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting as usual from Haslingden, north of Manchester in the UK. Today you're very privileged because this is the very first episode on YouTube of my very first vlog. If you've never heard of a vlog, don't be surprised, because until a couple of days ago I hadn't heard of a vlog either. What is a vlog? V-L-O-G, vlog. A vlog, I understand, is a video blog. What is a blog? A blog is short for a weblog. Now, I believe weblog comes from ship's log, which in the even today a ship's log is a diary which the captain completes every day, which details all every incident that occurs on board, including the course and distance sailed and all the rest of it. And in the film Mutiny on the Bounty, and in the novel, of course, and there were three different versions of Mutiny on the Bounty, Mr. Christian, who started the mutiny, would often say to the captain, Captain Bligh, "Captain, I want that entered into the ship's log." Now, fortunately, they didn't shorten that to splog, because it would not have cut it for me to have Mr. Christian say, "I would like that entered in the splog, Captain." So now you have it, vlog. The only English word that comes close to vlog is the name Vlad. There was a character in the Middle Ages in the Balkan regions, or in Turkey or somewhere around there, who was called Vlad the Impaler. And he had a rather nasty way of crucifying people, which I won't go into because many of you will be just having your breakfast and it's not very nice. So that's how I'm coming to doing a vlog. So this is the first episode, and from today onwards, from tomorrow's episode, I shall comment on world affairs. But I'll just filling you in a little bit about me. On Tuesday, that dreaded moment happened when my computer went down. I spend a lot of time on my computer. It's my right hand. I write with it. I print labels with it. I send messages with it. I send faxes with it. I watch movies with it. So without it, it's like being without your right hand, without your sweetheart or whatever. And when it went down, it did me a favour actually, because my computer engineers who live near Manchester in Sale asked me to bring it down. And on Wednesday I went down with it, and they told me that it was probably the motherboard. And the motherboard is the be-all and end-all, the very heart of a computer, and like in most homes, the mother does all the work. So I understand. And it did me a favour, because I'd found on YouTube that an awful lot of black and white films from the 40s, 50s and 60s and earlier and a bit later were on YouTube in 10-minute bites, because as you know, YouTube won't permit you to put on a video for more than 10 minutes. So I got into the habit of watching these, and sometimes I was watching 2 or 3 a day, which is too much, and you waste an awful lot of time that way. And the reason I like movies is because my father died in Australia. He was, during the war, he joined the army in 1939 as Royal Artillery. And the Royal Artillery provided, as you know, guns and men who were trained to fire those guns. And when war broke out, in order to protect our merchant fleet, because we depended on our merchant fleet for food from America and Australia and all over the world, the government fitted those merchant ships with guns. And the Royal Artillery was called upon to provide gunners. So they formed this maritime regiment, and my father volunteered or was sent to join it. And this regiment had bases in America and Canada and Australia and South Africa. And a team of gunners would sail with each ship. And during his service, my father sailed on about 4 or 5 different ships to various parts of the world. January 43, he took a ship called the Port Huon from Liverpool, and in July, after 5 months at sea, arrived in Melbourne, Australia. So he probably went via Canada, the United States, South America, New Zealand, Sydney, and then Melbourne. And unfortunately, he and his shipmates, fellow gunners, went into town, and getting a lift on the back of a truck, he fell off, banged his head, and 2 days later he died of a brain hemorrhage in the Heidelberg Military Hospital there. He was buried with full military honours in the Springvale Cemetery in Melbourne, and I went to visit that cemetery and that grave in 2001. It was very moving, and I'll tell you about it another time. What I'm coming to is that after the war, after 1945, when I was old enough, my mother turned for solace, being a widow, to the cinema instead of alcohol, fortunately for me and for her. And in those days, Warrington, which was my hometown, which is between Liverpool and Manchester, had 14 or 15 cinemas. And the film show, the programme, would change at least once, if not twice a week. So there was a good selection of films, and she liked murder films and cowboys and gangsters, but not musicals or comedies. And I used to watch all the heroes in these films and what it was about them that attracted the heroines, because I realised and recognised that this business of men and women was probably at the very heart of and the central theme of life on earth. And I watched dozens of the famous American film stars, Henry Fonda and Burt Lancaster and Errol Flynn and William Bendix, Alan Ladd. But the one who stood out for me as the kindest, gentlest, toughest, roughest, most all-round good guy was Gary Cooper. And he never swore, and you never saw him in a sex scene. Today, you get the impression that they feel they've just invented sex. And have you noticed that they always play a trumpet or a trombone in the background when there's some sex on the screen? Who wants to watch other people having sex? We're not voyeurs. When in the films that I used to see, it was all left to your imagination. And your imagination's an awful lot better than anything that you can see on the screen. Believe me. So my mother took me to thousands of these films, thousands, and I've seen thousands ever since on the television. So anyway, when my computer went down, it did me a great favour, and now I'm going to start doing more work, proper work, by putting video clips on YouTube again. So you'll be seeing me soon. And coming back to Gary Cooper, his famous film, of course, was High Noon. And on that note, I'm going to close now, and we'll resume tomorrow with episode 2, chapter 2 of my vlog, and I hope you'll join me. Thank you, and God bless, and goodbye for now.